Ganges, unquestionably the holiest river in the whole world. Legend has it that after Bhagirath did penance for thousands of years, Shiva, the compassionate Lord, sent the Ganges down from heaven. In this Kali age, that same compassionate Lord in human form has created a new Ganges to quench the thirst of millions, even without waiting for their prayers. In other words, this is the story of Sathya Sai Ganga, bringing relief to millions in Chennai, putting an end to almost 50 years of suffering caused by acute drinking water shortage. Our story begins in the early 1600s when the British landed on the east coast of South India. Here the British built a Fort St. George, that stands to this day. And around this fort grew the city of Madras, now known as Chennai. Right from the beginning, Madras faced water shortage. In 1886, the British built a dam across a neighboring river and used that water both for irrigation and for drinking. As years passed by, more reservoirs were added and they were networked. But all this was not enough and something more had to be done. Madras or Chennai receives water mainly during the northeast monsoon. But the northeast monsoon is fickle and often fails. By contrast, the Krishna River is fed by the southwest monsoon and receives plenty of water. By 1950, it was clear that Krishna water alone could relieve the drinking water problem of Chennai. Years passed and nothing happened until in 1983, M.G. Ramchandran, then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, met N.T. Ramarao, then Chief Minister of Andhra. NTR had already made grand plans to harness Krishna water for irrigation via his Telugu Ganga scheme. NTR agreed to accommodate MGR's request as a part of his Telugu Ganga scheme. A little later, the scheme for supplying Krishna water to Chennai was formally inaugurated by Indira Gandhi. In this scheme, water was to be first drawn from the Krishna River at Sri Salem. This water was then to be taken to Somasila Reservoir. From Somasila, the water was to be sent next to the Kandalaru Reservoir. From Kandalaru, a special canal, roughly 150 kilometers long, was to take water to Chennai. This canal was then called the Kandalaru-Poondi Canal. In 1996, the Kandalaru-Poondi Canal, whose construction was started in 1983, was formally declared open. Water was released from the Kandalaru Reservoir, but very little of that water reached Chennai. Dreams built over the years lay shattered. The city had grown meanwhile, thanks especially to the IT boom, making the drinking water situation even worse. To add to the misery, in recent years, the northeast monsoon failed repeatedly, leaving all the reservoirs completely dry. This was the state of the Poondi reservoir then. This state continued till Sathya Sai Ganga water came recently to Chennai. This was the state of Red Hills Lake during the drought. This shows how the canal leading to the Poondi reservoir looked then. No water. This is a view of the spot where the canal water is supposed to enter Poondi. Thanks to drought, Temple Tank now becomes a cricket ground. In every street and slum, people anxiously waited for tanker water. Often people had to wait till night, since one could not say when the tanker would come. To supply water to the city, the municipal authorities brought water through pipes from aquifers outside the city to various pump houses in city. There the water was filled into tankers. Here we see tankers leaving after getting filled. Municipal water supply was very restricted, only 3 buckets per family. That is when private operators entered the tanker business. The water that the private operators supplied was dirty, though the rates were high. At times, as much as 1,000 rupees per tanker. We see here a municipal tanker arriving to deliver water to a particular locality. The tanker leaves after filling the local syntax tank, following which people collect their share. These people have had to wait till night for water delivery. This has been the situation day after day till Sathya Sai Ganga water reached Chennai recently.
வீட்டுக்கு 3 குடங்க டெய்லி வரும் லாரி ஒரு டேங்க்
தண்ணி எடுக்கிறதுனால எனக்கு ஸ்டடீஸ் அஃபெக்ட் ஆகுது.
தண்ணி கட்டத்தால ரொம்ப பாதிக்கிறோம்.
கொஞ்ச நாள் நிம்மதியாக தூங்க முடியல. பண கஷ்டம்
எல்லாருக்குமே தண்ணி கஷ்டம்ன்றது எல்லாருக்குமே இருக்கு. இது என்னைக்கு சால்வ் ஆகும்னு தெரியல.
தண்ணி எடுக்கிறதா நம்ம வேலைக்கு போறதா என்ன செய்யணும் எனக்கு ஒன்றும் புரியல.
தண்ணி சில நாள்ல காலைல 3 மணிக்கு வந்துடுது. அதனால நாங்கள் அதாவது 2 மணிலேருந்து தூங்காம சில நாள்லாம் எதிர்பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கோம். சில நாள் திடீர்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா காலையில 8 மணிக்கு வரும். அதனால ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்கும்.
அந்த தண்ணியில சமைச்சு கொடுக்குற சாப்பாடு நல்லா சுத்தமா இருக்க மாட்டேங்குது. குழந்தைங்களுக்கு வயிற்று வலி பேதிலாம் வருது. இதுக்காக மழை வந்தா நல்லா இருக்கும். இதுக்காக சாயராம்கிட்ட நாங்க ப்ரே பண்றோம்.
கஷ்டமா இருக்கு. லாரியில தான் வாங்குறா. லாரியில கூட கரெக்டா லாரி வர மாட்டாங்க. ஏன்னா டே டைம்ல லாரி உள்ள வரக்கூடாது, நைட்ல தான் வரணும். தண்ணி எடுக்கிற இடத்துல அவங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப ப்ராப்ளமா இருக்கு. அங்கே ஜனங்க விட மாட்டேன்றாங்க. ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்கு. டெய்லி தண்ணி லாரி வாங்கி தான் ஆகணும், இல்லைன்னா இங்க பிசினஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. அந்த அளவு கஷ்டமா இருக்கு.
See, because of the water problem, the traffic has become very, very congested. All are blocked by the lorries. So we are getting a lot of accident cases. We get a lot of diseases like sporadic cases of typhoid and cholera and diarrhea. What is contaminated?
About a few weeks ago, I admitted a man with chest pain. You know what brought about his chest pain? He had to carry this kodams of water up to his flat, which is on the 3rd floor. Many buildings don't have lifts up to the 3rd floor. And he had to carry this water up, and he was a hypertensive. And this too in the middle of the night, because they don't know when the Tanni lorry will come. Okay, and he developed chest pain. So you see how something like water shortage can lead to even a heart attack. Financial health is devastated. Most middle class families end up spending more than 1,000 rupees a month. This is the fundamental need which has to be addressed. My husband and I also work in certain homes for destitute people. In one such home, we're getting water from the villages in tankers. One fine day, suddenly all the inmates turned blue, because the water from the village areas was contaminated with nitrates, which is then the fertilizer. Nitrate contaminated water can result in a poisoning known as methemoglobinemia. The inmates all started turning blue. I got a frantic call at night. I slept the whole night in that home. Luckily, by God's grace, we were able to rush the badly affected people to some ICU in some hospitals, and they all survived. Everybody survived. There was no casualty, all recovered. But just look at that contamination of water. So we're facing a lot of problems.
And then in January 2002, something totally unexpected happened. It was the first anniversary of Bhagwan Baba's super speciality hospital in Bangalore. There was a health meet organized to mark the occasion. And in the course of his divine discourse, during that meet, Swami took everyone by surprise by making a most extraordinary announcement.
ఈనాడు పవిత్రమైనటువంటి యొక్క ఈ సమయం నందు నేను మరొకటి కూడా సంకల్పించుకున్నాను.
Bhagavan has willed another at this sacred moment of time.
మెడ్రాస్ రాష్ట్రం లోపల త్రాగడానికి నీరు లేదు.
There in the state of Tamil Nadu, Madras, there is no water.
ఏదో ధనవంతులు లారీలతోనో లేక బండ్లతోనో తెప్పించుకొని త్రాగలుగుతున్నారు.
Rich people can afford to buy water from long distances.
ఈ బీద ప్రజలు ఏ నీటిని కొనుక్కోగలరు?
How do you expect poor people
ఏ
to buy
రీతిగా తన
water?
ప్రాణాన్ని నిలుపుకోగలరు?
How can they continue to live?
కనుకనే వర్షంతో పడినటువంటి ఆ గుంతల్లో నీళ్లు త్రాగి ఆరోగ్యాన్ని పాడు చేసుకుంటున్నారు.
In fact, they just drink the water that was there in pits there out of the rain and spoil their health.
కనుకనే ఎంత నష్టమైనా సరియే, ఎంత కష్టమైనా సరియే, మెడ్రాస్ కంతా కూడాను మంచి నీరు అందించాలని నేను సంకల్పించుకుంటున్నాను.
Let it be very difficult. Let it be a stupendous, magnificent task. Bhagavan has decided to supply drinking water.
ఇది తప్పక నెరవేరుతుంది.
It is bound to be successful.
దీనికి సందేహమే లేదు.
Don't doubt it.
ఆ దృఢమైనటువంటి విశ్వాసాన్ని మానవుడు అభివృద్ధి పరచుకోవాలి.
You should have strong faith in these things. The people of Chennai had not specifically prayed to Swami to solve their problems. But the Lord does not wait for prayers. When his children are in deep distress, he rushes to their aid, as he promised to do now. Chennai did not receive water properly via the Kandalaru-Poondi canal because, due to paucity of funds, the reservoir and the canal were executed basically as earthwork. However, the consequences were disastrous. The slope of the Kandalaru reservoir became prone to leakage and erosion, and bushes started to grow. As for the canal, its walls too were prone to erosion. In many places, there was silting of the bed and seepage losses. Much water was also lost by leakage from the sides of the canal. A few months after Swami's dramatic announcement, the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust initiated action on rejuvenating and reviving the entire Kandalaru-Poondi canal, starting with the Kandalaru reservoir. Often, work went on day and night. And when the work at Kandalaru was completed, this is how it looked. Incidentally, the storage capacity of the Kandalaru reservoir was tripled. Everywhere, a totally professional approach was adopted. First, a proper profile was designed for the canal sides in accordance with the requirements of hydraulics. Next, silt was removed wherever necessary and the canal bed was properly prepared. It is only after these preliminary preparations that the paving of the canal was done. Here too, there were 3 stages. First, a layer of concreting was done. On this was then placed a special imported high-density polyethylene film to totally eliminate seepage losses. On top of this film, another layer of concrete was then added. For paving the canal, special machines called pavers were employed. As many as 9 pavers were pressed into service so that work could proceed simultaneously in many places. Here we see the paving of the canal bed in progress. After paving comes curing. What a contrast between the unlined and the lined portions of the canal. A grand view of the canal after lining. Notice its width. Another view of the canal after lining. And this is how it was before. To take care of sudden and unexpected flooding, 3 escape structures were specially constructed. About 4,000 workers were employed and the project was completed in record time. In keeping with Swami's assurance, the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust spared no expense, aiming at perfection. In all, about 200 crore rupees were spent so that the people of Chennai would not have to go thirsty anymore. In recognition of all this, the Andhra government has now renamed the Kandalaru-Poondi Canal as Sathya Sai Ganga. Coinciding with Swami's 79th birthday, the Andhra government decided to release water for Chennai from Kandalaru. Welcoming the release, engineers of Tamil Nadu Waterworks performed puja at Kandalaru prior to the release on 23rd of November 2004. This is a photo taken on that occasion. After puja, the engineers joyfully watched the water flow out of the Kandalaru Dam towards Chennai. After waiting for more than half a century, a dream was at last coming true. The water released at Kandalaru on 23rd November reached 0 point at the Andhra-Tamil Nadu border at 6 p.m. on Monday, the 27th November 2004. Interestingly, this happened to be Bhagwan's birthday according to Telugu calendar. Thus, both the release of water at Kandalaru and its arrival at Chennai coincided with joyful and most sacred festivals. This is the photo taken when the water had just reached the 0 point. Next morning, some of the residents of the villages near 0 point celebrated the arrival of Sai Ganga water, besides expressing gratitude to Bhagavan. We'll now take a tour along Sathya Sai Ganga, starting with the Kandalaru Reservoir. A grand view of the huge water storage now possible. A close-up of the special reinforcement of the reservoir wall. This is the channel that brings water from the reservoir to the dam in Kandalaru, from where water is released to Chennai. This shows the road above the dam shutters. Notice the name of the board. Earlier, the name that appeared was Kandalaru-Poondi Canal. After its rebirth, blessed by the Lord, the canal now has a new name, naturally. View of the channel leading from the sluice gates to Poondi. Water flowing out of the sluice gates towards Chennai. And now, Sathya Sai Ganga is on its way to quench the thirst of millions in Chennai. A view of Sathya Sai Ganga as it gently flows south towards Chennai. This is Swarnamukhi River near the sacred town of Kalahasti. Believe it or not, Sathya Sai Ganga flows above the river through an aqueduct below the bridge. The aqueduct is 770 meters long. A view of the canal as it emerges from the aqueduct. One of the several escape structures that have been built as a part of Swami's project. Thanks to Krishna water, in many places one sees lush fields. And this tollway near the canal is liked not only by vehicles, but one of man's good animal friends. Another aqueduct across a small river. Here we see Sathya Sai Ganga emerging from the aqueduct. It's not all plain sailing. In some places, the canal has to flow in hilly terrain. Like the Ganges, Sathya Sai Ganga also offers scenic beauty. Here we see the hill has been cut to help the canal to flow. What a beautiful and grand panoramic view. Swami says, don't waste water. In keeping with that, engineers have enabled rainwater from the hills to flow into Sathya Sai Ganga. Here we see another view of the inlet that allows rainwater to flow into the canal. Sathya Sai Ganga has emerged from hilly terrain and now flows gently towards Chennai. What's happening here? Oh, it's an old woman helping herself to Ganga Jal. And for this boy, Sathya Sai Ganga is a nice place to dive for a holy dip. And now, after traveling about 150 kilometers, Sathya Sai Ganga finally crosses from Andhra to Tamil Nadu at the 0 point. This is the scene near 0 point now. This is a view of Sathya Sai Ganga emerging from the other side of the bridge at 0 point, hastening to merge in Poondi. Having entered Tamil Nadu, Sathya Sai Ganga is now flowing towards Poondi. At Swarnamukhi river, Sai Ganga flowed above the river. Here across the Arni river near Chennai, water flows through a tunnel below the river. Water entering the tunnel below the Arni river. When there is water in Arni, that water flows above the concrete slabs towards the sea. Sai Ganga, on the other hand, always flows below through the tunnel towards Poondi. Water is now coming out of the tunnel below Arni River. Into the last lap, and here we see Sathya Sai Ganga rapidly approaching Poondi reservoir. There it is, Sathya Sai Ganga finally merging with Poondi.
ఎంత నష్టమైనా సరియే, ఎంత కష్టమైనా సరియే, మెడ్రాస్ కంతా కూడాను మంచి నీరు అందించాలని నేను సంకల్పించుకుంటున్నాను.
Let it be very difficult. Let it be a stupendous, magnificent task. Bhagavan has decided to supply drinking water.
ఇది తప్పక నెరవేరుతుంది.
It is bound to be successful.
దీనికి సందేహమే లేదు.
Don't doubt it.
ఆ దృఢమైనటువంటి విశ్వాసాన్ని మానవుడు అభివృద్ధి పరచుకోవాలి.
You should have strong faith in this thing. Yes. Sathya Sai being the embodiment of truth, his words always come true. Barely a few months ago, this was the state of Poondi. This is a picture that appeared in one of the Chennai dailies on 17th December 2004. Within 20 days after the first arrival of water, Poondi now shows 0.78 TMC. What a grand panorama Poondi presents now. Celebrating their salvation from misery, 3,000 devotees from Chennai flocked to Prashanthi Nilayam on 12th of December 2004 to personally express their gratitude to Bhagavan Baba. And just before they left, this is what some of them had to say.
பாபாவுடைய தனிப்பட்ட ஒரு பிளெஸிங்ஸ் தான் மெட்ராஸ் மெட்ரோவுக்கு வாட்டரே கிடைச்சிருக்கு, அதுல சந்தேகமே இல்லை.
சுவாமி வந்து இந்த சாய் கங்கைங்கிற பிரேம கங்கையில எங்க எல்லாரையும் முழுகடிச்சுட்டார்.
நான் இதை ஃபர்ஸ்ட் தடவை வந்திருக்கேன். சாய்பாபாவோட அனுகிரகத்தினால ரொம்ப நல்ல விதமாக இது பண்ணியிருக்கு. எங்களுக்கு சென்னை மக்களுக்கு தண்ணி கொடுத்ததுல வந்து சாய்பாபாவுக்கு 100 தடவை 1000 தடவை அவ்வளோ தேங்க்ஸ் சொல்லுவோம்.
தண்ணி கூட குடிக்க இல்லாம அப்படி நாங்க கஷ்டப்படுறச்ச பகவான் வந்து ஹெல்ப் பண்ணி எங்களுக்கு இன்னைக்கு சாய் கங்கா ப்ராஜெக்ட் பண்ணி ரொம்ப ஹெல்ப் பண்ணிருக்காரு. அது கோடி கோடி பிரணாம் பாபாவுக்கு.